bring it up for Ohio State.
You've waited all day for this.
Don't let that team stand in the way. He's going to take it to the house. 85 yards. Down the right side going Devin Smith. Got it at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown.
The one show that's nothing but the Buckeyes.
Oh, Graham Rucker for the touchdown. Graham shoots it high on the right for 3.
This is the Buckeye Show.
Off and running here on a Monday, hanging out with the great Tim May. We got our man Cam behind the glass. Tim, happy sultry Monday to you, my friend.
Well,
What's
it was
happening?
sultry, man. I played in the Buckeye Boosters annual scramble today. We teed off at 10, and I think the temperature went up 8 degrees each hour.
Yeah,
it felt like
it was pretty warm for sure.
Yeah, it was cool because Ross Bjork spoke to the group, and then so did Jake Diebler and stuff.
Nice.
You know, and Diebler's pretty fired up by what they got going on, but also
Saw that Gary Pettit had some media availability for the basketball players as well today. John Mobley, Devin Royal, and then Bruce Thornton were talking over at the Shot today.
Well, I was playing golf, so I don't care. I hope they said something profound, you know. Yeah. I mean, you know, one of the points Diebler made was the fact that, you know, you're not begging right now, but NIL is still a big deal.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what people don't understand is revenue sharing is just making things right the way they should have been. but yeah, the NIL aspect of things, you got to keep knocking on doors and hammering that aspect of it to enhance it further. By the way, I got to play with 4 great guys, man. Jim and his 2 sons, Max and Mitch, and then this fellow named Luke, left-hander.
Okay,
dude,
Luke the lefty.
It was like Max and Luke especially were like playing with 2 Brandon Beams.
Wow.
I mean, they could hammer
Underwhelming
it.
golfers.
But this Luke guy, I never got his last name. It's pretty funny, but he hammered a couple of drives, man, well over 300 yards down the middle.
Wow.
He put us in position for an eagle, and none of us could hit the ball onto the green. So you know how scrambles go.
Oh, yeah, that's why you usually team up with Jake Ballard in there.
Yeah.
On the off chance that he hits a ball straight, it goes 400 yards, and you're in eagle range.
It's all it's about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like having Roman Gabriel at quarterback.
Yeah.
When in doubt, let him chunk it deep. But I like scrambles because they kind of cover up my warts and stuff. I hadn't played golf and even picked up a club in 3 weeks, and it definitely showed with a few exceptions. But, boy, greens in regulation are the greens in regulation with a putt at birdie or eagle drive the day.
That's how you score. That's how you score.
And we had trouble getting we didn't necessarily have trouble getting greens in regulation. We had trouble getting greens in regulation with a decent putt. But I think we finished -7 or something like that.
It's a tough golf course to do at Scarlet.
Oh,
it's a monster golf course. And I know that we talk about the Memorial Tournament over at Muirfield. And, of course, you've got Scioto really close to Scarlet. And you've got the golf club. And you've got Double Eagle. Scarlet, I feel like, kind of gets slept on in the pantheon of great golf courses here in Central Ohio, but it is a monster.
You know why? But one of the reasons I was thinking about it as we were playing, it's not exclusive, meaning, you know, a lot of people get to play Scarlet.
And a lot of people do play Scarlet.
Exactly. And you know, they got Gray right there with it too. But
great golf course.
But we don't have access to we don't have access to Scioto except for my buddy Wayne Hare tries to get me out there once a year. But you know, some of these other clubs you don't have access to like you can occasionally get on Scarlet. But world class, especially when they deepen the bunkers and did everything. They still play the Korn Ferry Tour out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy how good those guys are, much less the PGA.
Which is fun to always go out there, and I enjoy everything about when they play that Korn Ferry, like the final event of the season out there for those guys. And it's like if you go out to the Memorial Tournament, if you have the ability to go watch some of these guys who are trying to get on the PGA Tour, and you look from where we play from usually the white tees, like anything farther back than that, I don't really mess around with. I'm like, I could, but I don't really want to. I'm going to add 5 to 6 shots to my game if I take it a step back. But you look from where we play at, and then you look back 50 to 100 yards on every hole and realize what they're doing and the scores that they make on that golf course doesn't make any sense.
Beamer, it's nuts how far these guys routinely are expected to hit the ball. Yeah. I mean, Oakmont was crazy. It was a par 70.
You were there. I was enjoying watching that just on TV. I can't imagine how it was.
The number 11 tee box, you know, they could only expand it so far. The number 11 tee box, I was telling those guys I was playing with today, was like as far back as they could put it and not fall into the turnpike. And it was literally when some of these guys were hitting, you could only see their heads. I mean, they were hitting not just from far away, but out of a hole. And it was a routine sort of like straight up the hill par for these guys. I mean, yeah, it's crazy how good they are. But Scarlet, you know, when they did the remake, I think Weiskopf and Nicholas were part of that, you know, big time. I mean, it was It was very well done in my opinion, and they kept the essence of it, but I think they did get rid of the Block O bunker, which
the OSU bunkers.
Yeah, I always thought was pretty interesting.
I did too. I liked that. Just if you are planning on playing Scarlet or have played there recently, better practice in the sand. First time I ever played there, 22 bunkers and 18 holes.
Wow.
That's by far the most I've ever been in.
That's mucho.
In a golf round.
That's mucho bunkers.
Yeah, so I try to play it once a year, and it beats the heck out of me every time. So I'm glad you played over there today. Would Ross have anything to say? Anything?
No, he just basically was explaining to people where they are, how things are, but how much things still are going to change. Yeah. I've told him this to his face, and I've tweeted it and said it on other programs and stuff. You talk about a right guy at the right time for Ohio State with what's going on, with what has happened over the last 3 years, and where athletic departments are headed. I mean, this guy was right time, right place, man. He just got his act together. He's really you probably had him on the show.
Yeah, we talked to him multiple times.
Just a straightforward kind of talking guy. Extremely courteous. But then past that, he has all these other guys obviously on the beam. Pardon the pun. But when finally the House settlement was signed, everybody knew it was coming. This wasn't like a lightning bolt.
No.
But
then it took a while to get there and actually get it pushed through. But
correct, because every guy, just like a bill in Congress, you got a lot of pork involved, one way or the other. But everybody wanted theirs, and people are going to still keep wanting theirs, which is why we're not anywhere close to the end product here. But they had their act together, ready to roll out and ready to go, including the Learfield setup and all that stuff. And while some people were still scrambling and griping about the thing, Ohio State had its act together, man. And I was telling him, I just did a little interview with him for my the Tim May Show, my little podcast, and I pointed out, how the Alabama athletic director said, we got to keep football. Football's at the forefront of the revenue sharing, and then the NIL, and also men's basketball and women's basketball to a certain extent. But man, we're really trying hard. We really want to keep 21 sports. And we laughed about it because, I keep
you got
telling
36 here.
Apples, not even apples and oranges, more like apples and kiwis. I mean, it's the difference in the athletic departments between Texas and Alabama and then Ohio State. Texas has 21, 22 varsity sports that they have to fund. I mean,
and those are large athletic departments, no doubt, but it's very different from what you're operating at here.
Well, we're talking about another 15 sports, and you want them to, if you have them, you want them to act, or you want them to compete at a decent level. But like, Ross said, we'll see where it goes if, in fact, it's as feasible down the road to maintain. But at this point, they're, like Gene Smith said, they're bound and determined to keep them if they can.
For sure.
And we all know Ohio State's got the biggest galleon in the ocean when it comes to rowing. When everybody starts rowing that boat.
That's because we got the Scioto and the Olentangy right down the street from us, Tim.
For workouts. But you know what I'm talking about. I mean, the resources that an Ohio State has.
Well, they're continuing to pour resources in as well, which I think is incredibly important.
Correct. But I mean, I'm talking about the resources where you can knock on doors, and the question is, how long are people going to keep answering on the door when at least now they know they're pretty much, if money's going anywhere, it's pretty much still going to the furtherance of the football, basketball programs, you know what I mean, and every other program, and you're not giving to an NIL over here, and then also Ohio State's knocking on your door over here to give to the program itself and stuff. Now the money's going to be, it's not going to be coming from the same place, but it's going to be more and more handled by the same place.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The more that we get into it, and this is going to be the first time we've ever experienced it in college athletics.
Well, everything we're experiencing now is new.
So, it's a new day.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you kick the can down the road, as I've said many a time on this show.
Yeah, I said it on Friday when I was hanging out with Pat Murphy. I said they didn't really kick the can down the road. They just ran over the can and forgot it existed.
I heard you say that.
Then the can came back for revenge many years later.
I think I was the first guy to start using that kick the can down the road, but it's not a new saying, but like my favorite thing about the NCAA is they kicked the can so far down the road, they figured out for a little while how other people could pay the players they wouldn't have to. But now, What's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Catch Me If You Can?
No, not Redemption. Was it?
The Revenant.
Revenant.
Yeah.
The Revenant man.
Yeah, and then that can came back like the bear, and the NCAA was Leo.
The bear, you got to crawl into a dead horse now to stay warm.
We've got a great show lined up for you here this evening. Austin Ward's going to join us before Raw tonight, which is very fun. I know he's excited about that. He's going to join us at 6:30. Buckeyes had a big recruiting weekend, which we were talking about before we left you for the weekend. We'll go over that with Bill Kurelic, the Dean of OSU Recruiting for Bucknuts, coming up here at 7:30. Then we'll get into some of your past recruiting period storylines, Tim, as we get into this quiet chunk of the summer for the Buckeyes in the 7 o'clock hour as well. For now, though, we've got some preseason All-Americans to go over for the Buckeyes next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
The only workplace in America to participate in the Doorknob Fart Game. And we also play office basketball and sometimes do radio. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
No one knows better than a mom what's right for our kids. But with so many apps and devices, protecting them feels harder than ever. My name is Emily. My husband and I have 3 kids and we live in Strongsville. Ohio needs to act and put parents back in charge by passing a common sense law to require app stores to get parental approval before children download apps.
By requiring parental consent and age verification in the App Store, parents will have a simple, secure, and reliable way to choose what's best for their own kids. That's why Ohio's Fraternal Order of Police and the Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation both support this common sense approach.
With one clear place to approve the apps they use, Ohio can put parents back in charge.
Tell your state legislators to pass the App Store Accountability Act now. Learn more at owlr.org. Paid for by Ohio Women Lead Right.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. And no matter what tasty choice you make, our low prices add up to big savings. Plus, you get over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump and points. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town-properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Health insurance companies are expected to carry health benefits, but CareSource does so much more. We look beyond doctors' offices and hospitals to see the challenges that face our members. Then we help them achieve not just better health, but better lives. Along with great benefits, we also help our members find stable jobs, housing, childcare, and rides so they can find greater independence. At CareSource, we're removing barriers. We're improving lives. We're reimagining healthcare.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Join the Fan and 10 TV on Friday, June 27th from 11 to 6:30 to kick off the Beat the Heat Fan Drive. Purchase box fans and drop them off at the 10 TV studios on Friday, June 27th from 11 to 6:30. The Beat the Heat Fan Drive is sponsored by Newman Roofing.
Come on over to Heartland. Join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland.
I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Experience Buckeye Game Day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit OhioStateBuckeyes.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Blazing sunshine, heat, and humidity out there for this Monday. Temperatures in the low to mid-90s. It feels like over 100 degrees. Overnight, not much relief, down to the mid-70s for Tuesday morning. Plenty of sunshine, light winds once again, and plenty of humidity too. Temperatures back in the mid to upper 90s. Heat index over 100 Tuesday afternoon. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
If you still have a weird rash from jumping in Mirror Lake, we can be friends. This is the Buckeye Show.
Hey, it's hot out there today. It's going to be hot out all week. You can join Rothman and Ice this Friday for a live special broadcast as we kick off the 2025 Beat the Heat Fan Drive. The guys will be live from the Westerville Fire Station at 400 West Main Street, and we're asking for you to help a neighbor in need. Bring a new box fan to donate, and as a thank you, the first 100 people who drop off a fan will receive a pair of tickets to the Cardale Jones charity softball game at Huntington Park on July 19th. Help Central Ohio stay cool this summer. It's the Beat the Heat Fan Drive in partnership with 10 TV, Life Care Alliance, and The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Yeah, I mean, I had my fan cranking today. It was
I was playing golf. You know what? It wasn't that bad. I mean,
I played on Saturday.
There was a nice breeze blowing. I mean, it was hot.
Yeah,
but
I played on Saturday, and there was a nice breeze rolling. And then yesterday, I went up to Powell and hung out with my dad and my stepmom. And Meredith's mom met us out there. Her cousin just got her residency at like Ohio State Med School. She's doing she's doing dermatology stuff here at Ohio State for the next couple of years. And they had their dogs with them, and we were at a brewery up in Powell. And we sat outside for about a half an hour, and they're like, okay, we'll leave you now. We don't want you guys to have to sit outside with the dogs. So we had to hop back into the AC. But, yeah, it's been cooking out here, man.
Oh, yeah. And, I just noticed today at the golf course, but also when I got home and we're walking my dogs, because I'm kind of large and in charge of these few days with my wife and out of town. But, boy, the difference between shade and the sun is at least 7 to 8 degrees.
Yeah, at least.
It's like, because today it was really kind of dry. It was pretty dry out. And so I remember when I covered the Olympics in 84, I was out there, in Southern California for an extended period, really for the first time. And I would notice it'd be like in the mid 80s, but you go in the shade and it would drop like 15 degrees. Yeah. I mean, because it was so dry and things like that. But yeah, it felt like a Southern California summer day to me, except, the oven started out at a much higher temperature.
Yeah, it did. It was warm. So my dog's about 100 pounds, got mostly, black fur. And he looked at me today right before I was leaving for work around like 3:45, 4 o'clock. I'm like, all right, Theo, let's go out. Like, I'm not going to be home till like 8:15 to let you out. He's pretty good. I mean, he can go multiple hours. And he got about halfway out the door, and he looked at me like, I don't want to go out here. And I'm like, dude, you need to go out or else it's going to be a while.
My daughter's... we have a black lab. It's our second straight black lab. You can tell how long your relationship is. This is our fourth dog together, my wife and I. Birdie's a great dog, black lab. You know what that means, absorbing the heat. But then my daughter has a dog, which we've been watching for several months now. He's sort of a mix, but big dog, 105, 110 pounds with longish fur, and I call his name is Davy, but I'm calling him Anchor right now because you take him out for any kind of walk, it's like you're just dragging him. Man.
I'm not going anywhere, and they can plop themselves down and then become untenable objects to move.
Become an anchor.
Yeah, my dad had a French Mastiff growing up, a big dog de Bordeaux, and it was the same thing. They lived in a little cul-de-sac. They'd walk him around the neighborhood, and my stepmom and the boxer in which they had would then return home because the French Mastiff would lay down. She would have to go get the car. Then he would jump in the car and come home. But he was not, because he weighed, 140, 150
wait till
pounds.
they get older and they can't jump in. You have to help them into the back.
That's no fun.
We went through that with a couple of dogs.
That's no fun.
But go ahead, man. Let's go ahead and stick with our prescribed programming.
All right, so I was looking at this today from Athlon Sports, releasing their 2025 preseason college football All-Americans. Any surprise to you that Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs are on this list, Tim?
No, not at all. And here's the thing. Sonny Styles still hasn't had that super season, really, when you think about it, but Sonny Styles
really good last year.
Yeah, he was really good.
Simon were.
But dude, Cody Simon was the guy last year.
Yes, he was.
But I think Sonny Styles could end up being on a list like this at the end of the year. I really do. And then, Jermaine Matthews or Davison Igbinosun, I think could, especially Igbinosun, if he can just
stop committing the penalties.
Yeah, just wear those boxing gloves, and just don't do it. Wear them in the game. Who cares? Right?
Yeah.
That's like if you don't want to get caught for holding offensive lineman, just wear gloves where you obviously can't hold.
Use the clubs. Use the clubs. It worked out for Lathan a couple of years ago. He had the club and he had the pick six.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith, yes, it's crazy. This team is a young team, as Ryan Day has said, lacking experience in a lot of realms, although they've got some sneaky more experience, I think, than some people think. But
they played some snaps.
Definitely a talented team. And like I said many times, August 30, don't judge them by August 30. Judge them by November the 28th or 29th, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
Where
most,
are they at that point?
It's the most fascinating part, I think, about Ohio State. And, we've talked a lot of this offseason, Tim, maybe about the lack of not the ability to do it. That is for sure the wrong way to say that, because you're talented enough. A lot of these guys have been at Ohio State for a decently long time, and it's not like the same class of last year. Guys who've been here for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But with the guys leaving, this is a great year to be able to go out and host just open competition.
Yes.
Right? This is going to be a fantastic.
Jobs are up.
Jobs are up for grabs, and I think that's one of my more fascinating storylines when we get to about 5 weeks from now.
Right.
When we get inside of camp week opening up, just how intense those first 2 weeks of camp is going to be. Because I feel like, we have talked about this team and we've talked about this roster and we know some of the guys. I feel like there's a lot of room for dudes to step up and be able to get themselves in the mix of this competition.
Yeah, and you talk about the preseason All-American. This is Athlon's list, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a guy, I wonder if Max Clare had not left Purdue and gone to Ohio State, whether he would have gotten some a little bit more run.
That's what I was thinking.
They got the tight end from Vanderbilt on there, and he's a really good ball player too. But
over here on my screen, Tim, you can't quite see it, but I did have Max Clare pulled up because you went with Sonny Styles, and Max Clare was going to be the guy that I said, well, maybe by the end of the year with some of these different wrinkles and variations that we're going to see in a Brian Hartline offense, that Max Clare could well work himself into that as well.
And this is going to sound like a weird name, but not weird in my opinion, but Carson Hinsman, he took the bit last year when he finally got out of the doghouse. And I think Carson Hinsman, man, he just looks the part. I mean, just a brute. And I'm talking about at center now for Ohio State. And I'm interested to see what kind of run he gets if, in fact, this offense clicks like you think it could as the season goes on, because they've clearly got weapons again. It's different kinds of weapons except for Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, but definitely have the weapons, and he's going to be the real fulcrum, for want of another term, I think, for that offensive front, which is going to look different, new names on it, et cetera, for the most part. But and then Ethan Onyeonwa is really intriguing to me. I'm talking about guys who could legitimately be on an All-America list down the road.
Because usually by the end of the season, Tim, there are a lot of Buckeyes on these lists.
But this guy was really, really, really good for Rice. But he was playing for Rice.
Different stratosphere.
Well, there was an old cheer that Texas A&M used to use when they played Rice, but I won't tell you what it is.
At least on the air.
I don't think you can even use it anymore. But anyway, if you watch his video, man, there were times when he was just manhandling and dominating, so to speak. So now he's going to be featured in a big way in terms of highlights, national highlights and things like that. So there's a guy I think to really keep your eye on in that regard. And like I said, Carnell Tate, a lot of people would love for Carnell Tate to be their guy.
Yeah. A lot of how many teams are there in FBS in college football now?
131 or whatever.
131. I think there's probably about 125 teams around college football that could use him as their wide receiver one.
And then Ennis, man, we haven't seen Ennis play really like he could, but he delivered some huge plays last year. So there are some guys that can catch your eye.
Penn State play was nice.
There are some guys that can catch your eye, and then all you got to do is have 2 or 3 highlights out there, and all of a sudden these people that vote for All-America teams, like I sort of do or did. Because
how much time are you given to that? I mean, if we go back in the day, how much time are you dedicating to an All-American vote?
One of the great things to do, and I'm not big into like doing stats. I mean, stats was never my thing, and percentages, things like that. But it's just amazing how many offensive linemen who are on the preseason All-America lists are also on the postseason ones.
Yeah.
There's not much flexibility there because guys, when they start voting, they kind of cheat back and look at,
who was
this
on the
guy was supposed to be
list? And I'm not really watching highlight tapes of offensive line.
Exactly. Nobody is. I mean, it's kind of a joke when you think about it. Think about the 20s and 30s and 40s or 50s, 60s, and 70s.
How are you even getting that tape?
Yeah.
Now it's great.
As the old saying goes, when there ain't no tape. You know what I mean?
Now you can type it on YouTube and you can watch every play of a college football season, or you can go to the team's page and watch all their highlights.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. But even 10, 15 years ago, just the accessibility was not nearly what we have today.
Think about the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
I mean, it took them forever actually to even honor an African American guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many people really, way back in '36 or whenever the first Heisman was out, saw Jay Berwanger play? And of course, then Chicago gave up.
Well, everybody back
football.
Then would tell you that they did. They were there in the building to watch him.
Who did Grantland Rice write about? You know what I mean? Let's go with that guy. But
who did Tim May write about? That's who I'm voting for.
But now, if you vote for the Heisman, and I've voted for it for a long time now, if you don't do your homework, then shame on you. But fella, there are so many, as in there are 10, 15 guys who you could make a legitimate case for in terms of elevating their team and or putting on highlight reel type performances and stuff. And it's just who catches fire at the right time, and rides it. But most of the times the Heisman Trophy winner is legit. And with a few exceptions, there have been some quarterbacks in the past. I'm not sure that was legit. I voted for Vince Young in 2005. I thought he was the best player in the country, elevated his team.
Yeah.
And I think
hard to argue against that.
I think Reggie Bush won it, if I'm not mistaken, that year. So, you can make the argument for Reggie Bush, but national championship game, biggest play of the game for Texas, Vince Young had the ball in his hands.
Yes, he did.
Scored a touchdown. Biggest play of the game for USC, trying to hang on and move the ball. Reggie Bush was not on the field.
Yeah, well, he did also lateral it earlier in that game.
True, but you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely, I do.
Enough said. Tim May was right that year.
Our guy, Austin Ward, he's going to join the program. We'll talk some Buckeyes with him as he prepares for Monday Night Raw coming up in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
That's our us. When dreams sunk in, that's our us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's our us. When dreams sunk in, that's our us.
Boating season is finally here, and Buckeye Lake Marina is your go-to destination for all your on-the-water needs. With the largest inventory in Central Ohio, you can choose from top brands like Bennington, South Bay, Crown Line, and more. Buckeye Lake Marina has it all. Pontoon boats, luxury tri-toon boats, even merch. Open 7 days a week to serve you better. Find your next dream boat at Buckeye Lake Marina. Visit BuckeyeLakeMarina.com today for all your on-the-water needs. The good life, the lake life, starts at Buckeye Lake Marina.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Visit BuckeyeKubotaDealers.com to find a dealer near you. What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new chicken dippers. flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Ryan Day's favorite radio show. Probably. Maybe. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hanging out here on a Monday, Tim May in. Right now we head out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Checking with our guy. He is Austin Ward, A-Ward Sports. Happy Monday. Getting ready for Monday Night Raw this evening. Who has Liberty landed on and who she's cheering for tonight?
Yeah, great question. Greetings from the world's longest merch line at Nationwide Arena. Liv is upset. I'm wearing currently the Jey Uso polo. She's got on her Cody Rhodes t-shirt, Cody Rhodes necklace, championship belt. She is firmly in the corner of the American Nightmare. I brought my Cody t-shirt. I said I would change into it for that match itself, but yeah, it's been contentious. I said that I was, was going to drop some Jey Uso catchphrases outside, and I got knife edge chopped out on the way in here. So it's been an adventure. It's going to be a remarkable night.
That's going to be fantastic, buddy. I'm excited for you guys. And then you're getting away on vacation tomorrow, which is going to be good. I mean, she can't keep the girls off of roller coasters right now. What a 24-hour run she's about to encounter. How did the Buckeyes recruiting weekend go, Austin?
Pretty good. Yeah, it sounds like they may have landed on their quarterback option for the future. I don't know how much of Luke Fahey's decision timeline is out there. Had the offer has been reported, I guess I don't know if that's true or not. But he came in for an official visit over the weekend, and I, had a conversation with Berm about him on the beat earlier today. Feels like that's where it's trending for Ohio State. So it's an interesting dynamic with looking at this quarterback setup because you have Lincoln Kienholz and Julian Sayin, who both would have potentially multiple years available to them. Tavian St. Clair is a true freshman. Brady Edmonds is already committed for 2027. So when you look at it, you could make an argument that 2026 quarterback recruiting is not the biggest priority in the world for Ohio State. Certainly Ryan Day wants to take one to compete every single year, and you line it up and you take as many good players as you can. This is not one that you necessarily, if you're Ohio State, I'm still getting used to putting it in these terms. You don't have to break the bank if he does wind up picking Ohio State. The other, finalists here are Stanford and Indiana. So that tells you about the ballpark they're in. But generally with Ryan Day, Billy Fessler, Brian Hartline, when they see somebody that they like at that position, then they make a move on it. And those quarterbacks tend to appreciate the opportunity at Ohio State.
Yeah, and the point is, Austin, you never know about a guy once he shows up and stuff. He could be the dude, right? And number two, like you're pointing out, without saying, you really don't want that hole, even though you can get by with what you got right now. You don't want that hole in your recruiting, the recruiting train, right? I mean, from the standpoint, you want to get at least a quarterback with every class if possible and a big time dude. But hey, what in your mind, what stands out about this youngster? Why does he get the offer from your point of view?
Yeah, I don't actually really know the answer to that at this point, Tim. He kind of was added here late in the mix. I haven't watched any, haven't talked to him yet. I will defer to Ryan Day's evaluation, and so haven't got to that point, wouldn't be able to answer it, but it certainly looks like it is more of the accuracy decision-making model based on this kid's frame. That's that's secondhand for me, taking from Berm on the beat this morning. He's a little bit I think 6 foot 6'1", so he's not one of those towering presences. He's not Will Howard, but we've seen Ohio State go after some guys who fit that mold before and have a lot of success. And you look at Julian Sayin, I think that there's a lot of similarities as well, plus he's another California passer.
Bingo. I mean, I've watched a little bit of video on him. That's how messed up my life is, Austin. And I think, he's one of those guys who clearly sees the field. If you follow my drift there, he he's got a lot of awareness about him, and he can throw the pill. You know, Julian Sayen's in my opinion, another level in terms of like quick release and things like that. But this kid is right up there and stuff. Hey, you know, remember you and I used to have that little debate when you and I were still working together long ago. And I think it was Justin Fields and Ryan Day hadn't named the starting quarterback. What was it, 2-3 weeks into preseason? And you kept insisting it was going to be Justin Fields, and it ended up being Justin Fields, right? But are you in that same camp with Julian Sayen?
A compliment?
Yeah, it was a compliment. I try to compliment you as often as possible. I don't think you understand that sometimes, but sometimes they're backhanded. But by the way, don't tell Liberty this whole thing y'all are watching tonight's fake. Don't do that. But except for the blood. Hey, except for the blood.
Oh boy.
Hey.
Oh boy.
But is it in your mind? Is Julian Sayen the guy?
I'm not sure that I'm at that point. I definitely went into spring camp expecting that would be the case.
Right.
That eventually his higher upside, the recruiting pedigree would win out, and that he would eventually be the starting quarterback. But, you know, I think the Justin Fields one was, I thought, incredibly obvious based on the other options. And it was less so. It was less so 2 years ago when I also was pretty outspoken and insistent that Kyle McCord was going to win the job, and that very nearly was not the case. And Ryan Day was saying during camp then that, well, Devin Brown's having some good days, and there are days where he's pulling ahead. And I would also go to those press conferences and be like, well, I'm not sure that I believe that that's the case. And in that regard, I was wrong. I did wind up being correct about who got the starting job and who held it throughout the rest of the year. But I think that, to me, Tim, was a test case that Ryan Day is not misleading about his quarterback competitions the way many other coaches do.
Yeah.
And so based on what Ryan Day has said, how consistent he's been in that message about Lincoln Kienholz and Julian Sayen, plus what we saw through out of the 5 open practices that we got to witness, I would say that the general consensus, I'll speak for myself, but I think most people, and I don't know if you'd agree with this or not, came away thinking that Lincoln Kienholz had 4 days that were better out of the 5. Julian Sayen's best was during the spring game. So more people saw that, and I get that, and I think maybe that's the momentum to carry over into the summer. But I do think that it is much closer than I anticipated it being, and I don't feel like it's necessary to make a prediction as we stand here right now. We can let it play out when we get to July 31st.
Yeah. He is Austin Ward with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Austin, Tim and I were just talking about, in our last segment, some preseason All-American accolades doled out from Athlon Sports, and I'm sure very much as a surprise to you that Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith named as first-team All-Americans. Then he had Carnell Tate. Wow. Shocking, right? Carnell Tate and Sonny Styles on the second-team All-American list, and we kind of, just got in a little conversation of guys who you could see entering the season with maybe not a lot of love, but then exiting the season, or when you get late in the season with some All-American praise. Do you have a guy necessarily who you're looking at on this roster that kind of fits the bill for that?
Yeah, he's the other alien on the defensive side of the football, Arvell Reese. Not sure which planet he's from, but I think I've decided it's in the same solar system as Jeremiah Smith, so I think they have a lot of similarities. Berm has gone so far on the beat, and I'm not quite there with him, where he thinks Arvell Reese is going to be a finalist for the Butkus and will surpass Sonny Styles for those accolades. I'm not arguing against him that he's wrong. I just think there's some inherent way that awards voting works, where the name recognition gives you a boost, which I think hurt Cody Simon last year when he should have been winning a lot more of the accolades that he didn't get. But I would say it's Arvell Reese. I think that you also look at some of these offensive linemen are not getting enough credit right now. I don't know why, but someone on that Ohio State offensive line is going to win first team All Big Ten and some All-American accolades. And I think there's a pretty good chance that it should be Carson Hinsman, who might go on and win the Remington as well.
There you go. I just brought him up a while ago, Austin. You're yin, my yang, brother. By the way, I meant to say I rubber-stamped everything you said earlier about the quarterback deal and about watching and things. But, I brought up Carson Hinsman because I thought he really, when he got his, what do you want to call it, his second shot or third shot, whatever you want to call it last year, he took it and ran with it, man. It was pretty cool to watch. I also brought up Ethan Onianwa because I think he's intriguing. I think he's going to be intriguing to a lot of people and stuff. But I wanted to ask you about this name. It's going to sound weird because I'm not sure he's going to get any awards because of it, but Austin Seerveld. I think Seerveld, I think we're watching something kind of like a volcano develop, you know what I mean? That's building and building. And I'm not sure people are quite appreciating what we might be seeing coming out of Austin Seerveld. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I love the Austin Seerveld story. And he's a reminder of the value of recruiting, locally and taking. I think that they're expanding some of the net in that approach. Is like you get some of these Ohio Midwest kids who understand the value of going to Ohio State, a long-term development plan. It hasn't even actually been long-term for Austin Seerveld.
Right.
We're talking 2.5 years at this point where he's become, the only person really that Ryan Day has named an official starter on the offensive line. I think we know that Carson Hinsman will be at center, and Ethan Onianwa was trending that way by the end of spring camp at left tackle. But it's like he's going to start, and they're going to figure out what position is actually best down the road. I don't really recall the last time that situation transpired for Ohio State, but you look at Iron Buckeye Awards, Dudes of the Week stuff, like it's pretty impressive what he's built himself into, where, again, you think back 4 months ago, it's like, well, his return is really important. He's got starting experience. He was critical in the playoff push, but that's the luxury of Ohio State's depth. He's going to be the sixth guy, and now it's like, no, he's number 3 or number 4, and it depends on which spot you actually put him in.
Austin, always appreciate the time. Thanks for popping on with us. Have a great night down at Nationwide Arena tonight, buddy. Go Jey Uso, I think, unless Cody Rhodes wins it at the last second. I don't know how that's going to be documented well this evening, but
determined.
Enjoy, buddy. Have a great evening. Have a good vacation this week, and we'll check in again soon, all right?
We just need them to get some Pinta masks on sale, otherwise we're going to have a meltdown before we even get to the show.
Oh, no. See you later.
Yeah, see ya.
There he goes.
Real quick, you know a little about Austin and Liberty, his daughter? She likes golf.
Yeah, I know. She likes everything. She likes F1. She likes golf. She likes wrestling. She likes all kinds of good stuff. Great stuff from him. And always, a conference rose from the ashes today like a phoenix a little bit earlier. That's next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Ben Sattler, Assistant Vice President, Commercial Lending, on what makes First Bank of Central Ohio successful.
What we do as a community bank is really, listening to, that company, finding the solutions that best need their business and is not just a universal product that you could get anywhere else.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
We've got a story about a little bean doing big things. Soybeans are used in creative ways you may have never realized to make products we use every day. And Ohio's farmers are growing some of the world's best soybeans. By using and eating soy-based products, you make a positive impact locally and globally. Say hey to the largest ag export in the U.S. Learn more about soybeans at soysecrets.org. This ad brought to you by Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Hello, I'm Ross Bjork, Senior Vice President and Eugene Smith Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director at The Ohio State University. In partnership with AEP, Donato's, Kroger, The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center, Huntington, and 10 TV, Ohio State Athletics strives to inspire the community to make a positive impact on children and families in our great state through the Buckeyes Care Initiative. Show and share your support in the community by using the hashtag #BuckeyesCare.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Do you suffer from leg pain, leg swelling, varicose veins, or leg ulcers? Dr. Barry Zeta and Dr. Joseph Senta at Ohio Vein and Vascular Polaris are pioneers in the vein and vascular field. Dr. Zeta and Dr. Senta can perform minimally invasive procedures that will get you back on track to a pain-free life. Stop living with leg pain and start the process to healthy living with a free healthy leg screening. Go to loveyourveins.com or call 614-426-VEIN. That's 614-426-VEIN or loveyourveins.com.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. 4 out of 5 dentists recommend this show. The other dentist is a Michigan fan. Yuck! You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Hey, friends. Did you jump on Awaken 180's Lose 40 by the 4th challenge? Well, if you did, huge congratulations to you. We got that coming up. What is it, next week? We got the 4th of July. Speaking from experience, listen, I dropped double digits my very first week on Awaken 180, and just in over 3 months, all 70 pounds were gone. Game changer for me, and the results came faster than what I anticipated. Now, if you haven't jumped on board yet, no worries. We got plenty of summer left. I mean, we're looking right in the barrel of mid-90s for the rest of the week. So, I mean, if you want to lose 30 pounds, 40 pounds, over 100 pounds, I'm not saying that you're going to drop 40 pounds next week, but if you have the same week 1 results that I had, you're definitely going to be on your way. Set your sights on August. Think summer barbecues, golf, the beach with your tarps off. Every bit of it fits into your new Awaken 180 lifestyle. Lose weight, love summer, and thank me later. Start today at awaken180weightloss.com, the official weight loss program of summer. Yeah, it was, it's always good. Always good getting pictures of the boy up in Michigan still. Been very weird hanging out by myself this week.
Yeah.
Just being a bachelor. I was telling you, I'm just like eating salad kits, like Taylor Farm salad kits, and they pay me nothing to tell you this. And then just grilling chicken thighs. That's what I've been eating for a majority of my meals.
Don't throw that chicken thigh secret out there, man. We were talking about that during the break. I think that's the next hot thing. All of a sudden, chicken thighs will be $9 a pound or something. Well, they're from Canada or something.
I don't want to blow up the chicken thigh spot.
Exactly. Well, they're from Canada or something. That's what
overcooking your chicken breasts and drying them out.
Yeah, I love chicken thighs. It's the combination dark and white meat, man.
It's the best.
Yeah, and you can, like you talked about, you can overdo breasts, chicken breast like you wouldn't believe, and now you're eating like shoe leather. But,
that's how shout out to my mom. She did a great job cooking. Cooking chicken breast for her was nearly impossible. So I grew up just thinking that's how chicken tasted. Because we didn't have an internal thermometer to check the temperature.
Chewing on that piece of turkey in
100%. That's what it was. It's exactly what it was. So growing up, I'm like, I don't really like chicken that much. I'm like, well, when you cook them to 200 degrees, they don't really have much moisture left in them. So
hey, real quick, I want to ask you this before we move on. I remember when we had our first kid, Kyle. I would go on road trips. I really missed my little boy. It totally changes your life. You know what I mean?
Oh, it does. It's been very.
And I know
quiet.
You miss Willie, man. He's the cutest thing going.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I'm FaceTiming him every day.
Yeah.
that's good. But I'm definitely missing him right now. I don't miss him in the night when he's not like crying or making any noise.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's been very quiet, very boring.
Well, I babysat my 2 grandsons on Saturday night, Charlie and Owen, and I love it. I have more time for them than I had for my own kids, back in the day. As my kids will tell you, but there's nothing like little boys running around getting in trouble.
Oh, it's the best. Hanging out with worms, jumping into the water, doing things they're not supposed to be doing.
I wrote a story one time about, I probably said this before, but about football players, what sets them apart. And I go, there are guys when they're like 5 and 6 years old and you take them to the big pool. I don't know if you even have big pools anymore.
Yeah.
And you used to have diving boards that went to the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the one 5 or 6 year old will go up there and jump off it, and the other one, his older brother, maybe wouldn't until he did. That happened in our family. Yeah. And
there's always one. Somebody's gonna do it.
I remember talking to Brian Hartline about that. I mean, some guys, my big line is
Brian was jumping.
There are some kids that will go off the high board, and some of them won't.
Of course, and usually the ones that do first end up being
players
a little bit crazier. Yeah, and strapping it on. Monday, CBS Sports and the Pac-12 announced an extension of their partnership through the 2030-2031 season. The extension will help usher in a new era for the Pac-12. Here was their statement, which I thought they were dead, Tim. I mean, a couple of years ago when you had Oregon and Washington and USC and UCLA leave the Pac-12, and then it was an arms race. Like, okay, well, Stanford's leaving. They're going to the ACC. Cal, we're going to go to the ACC.
Arizona State.
I mean, was it Oregon? It was Oregon State and Wazoo, right? Were the 2 remaining teams. And I'm like, if you could have got me to wager something that conference will just no longer be around in 2 more years, I would have hammered that bet. But they have kind of risen like a phoenix from the ashes. On July 1st of next year, the Pac-12 welcomed the additions of Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State, and Gonzaga. With its pre-existing members, Washington State and Oregon State, the conference will officially have 8 members next year. There's also been a lot of talk that Texas State is going to get into the Pac-12. I just, out of sheer will to live, the Pac-12 has gone from dead to rights into extending now a CBS sponsorship, which would have been the biggest thing on their plate to be able to accomplish, and that they are not going around for a while. So until 2031 now, you get CBS and the Pac-12 in a sponsorship agreement, which is one of the wild underdog stories coming from a conference that's been around for forever.
And it's also testimony that college football is really, going through some upheaval.
Yeah.
And there are going to be quite a few of these conferences. Several conferences are going to be, for one of another term, relegated.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because there are still players out there who want to be big players. Texas State, I've seen that stadium several times when you drive from Austin to San Antonio. It's on the west side of I-35, and that stadium has been there for a while. Not a big-time stadium. You wouldn't mistake it for Ohio Stadium or even Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium at Texas, but an interesting little stadium. UT San Antonio sitting down there. They're trying to get into the big time, have been for a while.
Right?
But I think few programs have come as far in the last couple of years as Texas State.
Well, you've been down there before, Tim. I mean, you know how big the game of football is down there in Texas.
Yeah, but the point is, declare yourself, we're going to go for it.
Yeah.
And kind of reminds me, once you could have NIL, SMU was not given up for dead because they were still having a really good program there if they got their act together after the death penalty. But SMU in Dallas, dude, what did they do when they needed an NIL?
Yeah.
They paid money came from everywhere. What did they do?
Are they still not taking a payment from the ACC?
Right,
like they broke their rights and they said, we're good.
And what they do? They almost won the damn thing the first year. But what did they do? They said, we'll come in and play for free. We have plenty of money.
Yeah.
Just put us in a big time conference. And now they're I would say they're back.
Got into a college football playoff, or
correct.
Lost to Clemson in the ACC championship. But I would say, as far as they go, that would be a resounding result. Year number one for SMU.
The point I'm going back to is there are some schools that are still willing to step up and do the thing. I mean, Appalachian State's a great example. They just got the quarterback from I can't remember where the kid was from, but he was being courted. Oh, the kid from up at, I think, Ashland. This guy was he's committed to them from Ashland, Ohio. And in my opinion, he's a big-time type prospect. Ohio State, I don't think ever.
Nathan Bernard?
Yeah, I don't think Ohio State ever offered him.
Michigan and Penn State did. He went to App State.
Exactly. And but the point is, if you go there and you get to play immediately and you do some wild things can happen for you. So my point is, obviously they've got a few things going on other than App State, because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, up in the hills, Appalachians, but which is aptly named. But there are programs that are saying, hey, we're not giving up on this. We're going for it.
Which I like. You know, now in a day and age where you have to fight and scrape for what's yours, you're kind of starting to see that emerge more in the college landscape.
Because
right?
you get your act together from an NIL standpoint, you can be a player.
You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. And if you don't get it together, then you might have some issues.
Correct.
But at the same time, you do get your act together. And even if, let's just take Nathan Bernard, for example. He goes to App State for 1 or 2 years, Tim. We've seen it so many times that you play well down there. Well, guess what? Then there's going to be an opportunity for you to take a big jump to
Portal.
Yes, exactly. And you know that. Everyone knows that if you follow college football or really college athletics as of right now. Speaking of one big-time college football program, their quarterback was slinging some barbs today, and I don't know if that was a very good thing to do. We'll get into that in the College Football Pulse next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We test marketed naming the show A Guy and His Butlers.
Oh, that is very touching.
But we thought Bishop and Friends had a better ring to it.
Weekday mornings at 9.
The Fan.
Colin Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain inter-office emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I have been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Now open. Zumbizi Bay's brand new conservation tower. 3 slides, 1 tower, and endless thrills. Only at
Zumbizi Bay.
Plan your visit at ZumbiziBay.com.
Talking about guns might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Asking safety questions before a play date, like do you have pets, a pool, are there any unlocked guns in the home, can help keep kids safe. Learn more at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by Ohio Health and the Ad Council.
Things are popping at Al's Delicious Popcorn. With over 80 flavors to choose from, we have something for everyone. From classics like caramel cashew, white cheddar, and our famous vanilla butternut, to new flavors like chicken and waffles and spicy barbecue. They are all made fresh and they are all delicious. Visit us online at alspopcorn.com or come see us and experience the best service in town at 1500 Bethel Road in Columbus. Al's Delicious Popcorn.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan.
And I'm Cam Taylor. It was confirmed today that Indiana Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton suffered a torn Achilles in the first quarter of last night's Game 7 between the Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Finals. The Thunder were too much for Indiana as they won the NBA title last night, 103-91. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the Finals MVP and became just the fourth player in NBA history to lead the league in scoring, win regular season MVP, Finals MVP, and the NBA title all in the same season. The NBA draft will take place this week starting on Wednesday with round 1 at 8 p.m. and round 2 on Thursday also at 8. The Cleveland Guardians are off tonight before starting a 3-game series tomorrow against the Toronto Blue Jays at 6:40, and the Cincinnati Reds are taking on the New York Yankees at 7:10. We will join that game in progress following tonight's Buckeye Show. This SportsCenter update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy's office at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
It's time for the College Football Pulse on the Buckeye Show.
Sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hour 2 for us here on a Monday. Got the College Football Pulse coming right at you. Cam, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. You all right over there?
Hey, Beam, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good, buddy. Good, buddy.
We're doing very well, except Beam keeps cutting my microphone off when I get a little crazy.
I just, someone's got to do it, Tim. It's actually, you know what? It's Cam. I'm gonna defer, and I'm gonna blame Cam on that. What do you got for us tonight, buddy?
Yeah, so like you teased right before the break, new Florida State quarterback Thomas Castellanos, former quarterback at Boston College, had some choice words about Alabama and their opening Week 1 matchup for the Florida State Seminoles versus Alabama this year, and basically said they don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me.
Wow.
I mean, it's a choice. It's a choice, and you and I have talked about, Tim, and been talking a lot about year 2 for Alabama and Kalen DeBoer stepping into the shadow of Nick Saban, what the expectations down there in Tuscaloosa are for him. Just me personally,
you're stammering because this guy went way off on the deep end.
I wouldn't want to be given Alabama bulletin board material. No. That's just me. I've watched them in the past. They've been very good. I know we're in a different era in college football now. I know that Nick Saban isn't their guy anymore, but he used to talk about that yummy rat poison.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Yeah. That's some yummy rat poison. And by the way, too, it's not like you're coming off a remarkable season for Florida State. I mean, Mike Norvell is also now on the hot seat down there after coming off of getting snubbed out of a college football playoff. But, they had an awful year last year, Florida State did. And they brought in a lot of different guys in the transfer portal. And, again, didn't work for him last year. We'll see how it works for him again coming up this season. That's a pretty chesty thing to say about Alabama football there.
And not only that, this guy was not the be-all and end-all at Boston College.
Right.
As my buddy Andy Backstrom pointed out.
Had a scrap with Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, my buddy Andy Backstrom pointed out because he covered BC before he moved over and started covering Ohio State football a couple of years ago, and he pointed that out on a Twitter today, a tweet today, or an X, whatever you call it. But you know what? We're talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Here we are.
And the other thing is, though, as long as he was there, Nick Saban was a gritty defensive back for Kent State, but never for Alabama. So you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
And so we'll see where it goes. Just like you said, why throw it up on the wall if you don't want it to stick?
Is he just taking Diego Pavia's lead from Vanderbilt?
But listen, here's the difference.
That's
Diego
what we were
Pavia
just talking about that.
Did it. He beat Alabama last year. So, okay, I maybe don't poke the bear again twice because that is Vanderbilt upsetting Alabama. You're going to get another chance to play them this year. Best of luck to you, Mr. Pavia. Also, best of luck to you, Mr. Castellanos. You're going to get the opportunity to do that right out of the gates in week number 1. So I'll be watching that, but I think this is what makes college football great, right? I mean, I love it. Trash talk all you want because I would think that those Alabama defenders might have something to say with you if they sack you multiple times that game.
Why would Pavia take shots at the Big Ten? I mean, we all know where Vanderbilt is. We all understand what Vanderbilt's all about and stuff. They would be middle of the road to also ran in the Big Ten. Put that down. Tim May said that and see what Pavia says.
He is not. You ain't Cam Ward.
No, he ain't no Cam Ward.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out great for him. But hey, more power
we just start that new thing. Whenever something happens, you say he ain't whoever it is.
DJ Uyunglele.
Yeah.
He ain't Diego Pavia.
Yeah, he ain't DJ Uyunglele, and he was the first guy they turned to down there at Florida State. So. Yeah. The run-in he had with Bill O'Brien last year was interesting, though, because it really, wow, do you really know how good you are and how good your team is?
For sure.
We'll find out when they play Alabama.
Yeah, we will, and that's week number 1, so we don't really have that long to wait for that. What else you got for us tonight, Cam?
And so on 3, Athlon Sports ranked the top 10 coaches that could win their first national championship in 2025. Some of the names on the list: Sharon Moore at 10 with Michigan. I don't really see them having a championship season this year, but maybe Bryce Underwood is that good. Josh Heupel with Tennessee at 9. Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. Mario Cristobal, Miami. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama. Jumping to number 1, Steve Sarkisian. James Franklin, number 2. Dan Lanning, Oregon, 3. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame, 4. Brian Kelly, LSU, 5.
Tim, you've been covering this team for a long time, talking about Ohio State. We just saw Ryan Day get past this hurdle.
Yeah,
right?
he's not on this list anymore.
He is not on this list. He's actually on a list that is Kirby Smart and Dabo Swinney, and now Ryan Day as the only 3 active coaches to win a national championship in college football. As the pressure shifts off of Ryan Day, because, going through last year, that was as pressure-packed as you were going to find. Losing the way that you did to Oregon, and then losing the way that you did to Michigan, turning it around, going on the unbelievable 4-gamer. For you, and I don't know if you can replicate the kind of pressure that Ryan Day was facing here in Columbus, but these are obviously some very big institutions. For you, who's the next guy? Who's the next guy that we're going to see get over the hump, the proverbial hump?
A guy I'm intrigued by, and a lot of people aren't, I understand. I really like Lane Kiffin, just from the standpoint of the kind of way he goes about his business. He appears to be aware of life other than just Ole Miss football or wherever he's been.
He's hyper aware.
I think he becomes more mature every year, more and more mature every year.
When you get into the coaching industry, what he did when he was 20 years old, you see someone grow up in the public eye.
That's exactly what we did, and it's crazy. But the guy that's intriguing to me is James Franklin.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You take Ohio State and Michigan off of his plate.
Yeah. It's been really good.
It's been really, really, really good. And you look at that the game with Notre Dame last year when they had shots.
They had shots.
I'm not sure, like I keep saying, I'm not sure they've had the quarterback yet that can take them there. And he's back again this year, Drew Allard, and good luck to him and stuff. But there's a guy who is intriguing to me because so many people think he can't really coach. You know what I mean? But you know what?
I'm kind of in that camp.
Yeah, I know, because there's some bonehead things that happen in Penn State, big Penn State games and stuff. But sometimes you get the guys around you that keep that from happening.
Yeah.
AKA going out and getting Jim Knowles. I mean,
that's big time hire.
That's big time. So James Franklin's the one that intrigues me because I've always enjoyed talking to him. I don't know how to explain it to you other than that's more selfish than anything else. Well, who do you think?
I think for me, I think they're kind of on the same page this year, and whatever outlet you want to look at, like these, these summer rankings going into preseason top 25, it's very consistently now either Penn State at number 2 or Penn State at number 1, and then Texas the opposite of Penn State. So I'm looking at Sark. I mean, you look at the last couple of years now. You had Quinn Ewers transfer back to Texas from Ohio State. He got you to a playoffs. He got you to a college football playoff, which in the last iteration of a 4-teamer. Couldn't get over the hump there. You look at last season and what Texas did. I mean, fought tooth and nail against Ohio State down at the Cotton Bowl.
That was a game, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a darn good football game. And Captain Jack Sawyer came to the rescue. And now we're talking about them loading up. And I think a big piece of their team actually this year is going to be former Buckeye hero Canoe. I think that was a massive transfer for Ohio State. And I think it was a massive get for Texas. It just all comes down to, is Arch Manning the guy? And everything that has been reported and said that he is. But I think James Franklin and Steve Sarkisian are appropriately ranked here. I think that those are 1 and 2 of guys who, if you're about that business, let's see it, because it's time for you to go.
I'm intrigued too, Dan Lanning being on that list, only because I think Dan Lanning's an interesting fella.
Yeah,
where he's come from and what he's built and stuff. But I'm telling you, man, I keep looking at Oregon and I keep thinking I think they're always going to be missing something. I mean, that's just like a weird kind of like vibe I have about Oregon is just like last year. Ohio State should have beaten them the first time.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. And then the second time they they weren't in the same weight class.
Oh, no, it wasn't even close.
And granted, I mean, he's reshaped that team into like an SEC type program from big linemen and things like that. But it just still seems like there's going to be something missing there. But I like the way he's dedicated himself to that program. They've got the resources. But first time I was over there was last year. It's a long way to Oregon.
Yeah, it's not close to
That's
really
why they call it the Oregon Trail way back in the day, you know? And so I'm not sure you can get it done there. I mean, I know it sounds funny because
you have everything. You have everything at your disposal. You really do. Like their amenities are world class. Their facilities are world class. But you still got to just
really talk guys and, for one of the term, bribe guys.
Yeah.
To show up there. So I'm going to be very interested to watch them the next 5 years.
Where are you at with Brian Kelly and LSU as well? Because you looked recently, the last 3 coaches at LSU have all won national championships. Yeah. Brian Kelly goes from not being able to get the job done, very good at Notre Dame, to kind of a different realm down in the South. Because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him as well.
I thought he was a fish out of water when he went there. It shocked me. Kind of reminded me of John Malkovich going to Texas from Illinois.
Okay.
But I think Brian Kelly is a very good coach. I think his background was at Grand Valley State before he ended up, going to Cincinnati and then into Notre Dame and now to LSU. The talent is around him.
It's abundant.
You've got to assemble it.
They're not like Oregon. They ain't Oregon.
No, they ain't Oregon.
Talent.
I mean, you talk about A-gap dudes. I got another name for them, but A-gap dudes, they're living in all these weird places down in Louisiana and East Texas. But I think he has the wherewithal to get it done. I would put him, but man, he's in a tough league. Obviously he's not in the SEC West, doesn't exist anymore. But that's a tough league to win and then rise from. I think we've all seen that. So, but I do think he has the capability of having a national championship team.
They have a lot of advantages at their disposal down in Louisiana State.
Right, but like John Cooper used to say, whenever you want to see how good a program can be, look at their press guide and see what they've done.
Yeah.
And LSU's been in there.
And they've done a lot.
Yes.
They've done a lot.
Yeah.
We're through the recruiting period now for the Buckeyes. We're going to get Tim's biggest Buckeye summer storylines next. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here to help keep you on the road so you can soak up all the summer fun. The road tunes.
Take me out to the ball game.
Hotel pools. Emergency ice cream stops. The sunscreen and bug spray everywhere.
It's in my eyes!
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we're here for it all. So stop in for a quick oil change before you go. Only takes about 15 minutes. No appointment needed.
Discover uncompromising quality at a reliable price with Giant Eagle in Market District. Look for signs throughout the store highlighting lower prices. Surround yourself with savings at Giant Eagle. Experience value like never before. Visit Giant Eagle today to see how easy it is to save.
Sometimes I hear a sparkling sound.
Like when we say, all you have to do is point?
There it is.
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
As America's largest custom home builder, Schumacher Homes believes a top-quality home should be affordable for everyone in the Buckeye State. We work with the leading architects to bring you the latest in design, and then you have the ability to make changes. Not just selecting finishes, but moving walls, adding rooms, literally customizing anything from the ground up. It's a misconception that custom homes have to be expensive. We work within your budget to build an amazing home on your land. Visit SchumacherHomes.com or any of our 9 Ohio locations.
The best outcomes for treating cancer come from early detection and early diagnosis.
The James Cancer Diagnostic Center at Ohio State
is designed to provide rapid evaluation and a clear diagnosis.
We are transforming care by giving patients direct access.
The cancer experts who study and treat cancer every day.
If you think you have cancer, the choice is clear.
Choose the James Cancer Diagnostic Center.
Go behind the scenes of one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of college athletics with a tour of Ohio Stadium presented by Experience Columbus. A seasoned redcoat will be your guide as you make your way through walls of the stadium, into the press box, and onto the field. Upgrade to the VIP package and get special access to the band center and the Ohio State home locker room. From corporate outings and school groups to single-person tours and small families, Ohio Stadium Tours offer a variety of options and pricing. For more information, visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com and book your tour. Ohio Stadium Tours, presented by Experience Columbus.
AgPro has been family-owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
Buckeye football training camp is coming. Catch live editions of Morning Juice, T-Bone, and Tybus and Bishop and Friends starting July 31st. They'll be close enough to smell the jock straps. Live on The Fan and YouTube. Yay football.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a Buckeye, it's the action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo were you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. And jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Experience Buckeye game day like never before. Welcome to the 1922 Club, the most exclusive space inside Ohio Stadium, where luxury meets tradition in the heart of Buckeye Nation. Enjoy upscale food and beverages and a game day atmosphere like no other. Create lasting memories with friends and mingling with other Buckeye fans, and celebrate every OHIO in ultimate comfort. Become a member of the 1922 Club today. Memberships are limited. Visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hot and humid with light winds out there on this Monday. Temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Overnight down to the mid 70s. And after a very warm and humid start on Tuesday, back in the mid to upper 90s in the afternoon with the heat index expected to be over 100 degrees. With your 10 weather impact forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz on The Fan.
It's time for your daily dose of vitamin B. B stands for Buckeyes, just in case that wasn't clear. You're listening to The Buckeye Show.
Dean of Ohio State recruiting, Bill Kurelic. He's going to join us coming up here at 7:30. Talk a big Buckeye recruiting weekend coming off of that. We've now entered the quiet period, kind of. Technically, it is the quiet period, right? The coaches aren't allowed to reach out.
But wait, listen to this. You know what this is?
Clock ticking?
It's the clock ticking.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be
gets louder.
So he's going to join us coming up here in about 12 minutes' time, talk all things Buckeyes recruiting. Hey, quick aside before we get to your biggest storylines here. You can join us Friday night for the Blue Jackets draft special right here on The Fan. Bob McElligott, Dylan Tyre. They're going to be live from Nationwide Arena as the Jackets look to add something exciting new talent to the lineup. It all starts Friday at 6. The Blue Jackets draft special, sponsored by Ohio Health, only on The Fan, Ohio sports destination, which means that we do not have a show that evening because the Blue Jackets are in the draft. And I did see some news a little bit on the CBJ today, Tim. I don't know if you saw this, but first reported by 10 TV this afternoon, Franklin County Conventions Facility Authority has shared renderings of upcoming renovations at Nationwide Arena, estimated to cost $400 million and 4 to 5 years once work begins. And I was looking at some of these renderings for Nationwide Arena. Building's 25 years old. It's still in great shape.
Putting a football field in?
It's still a tremendous place to go and watch a hockey game. Yes. Or if you're like Austin, go watch WWE Raw this evening. I was looking at some of these renderings. I'm like, we've got outside video boards and we've got all different kinds of things in there. It's still a fantastic venue. Yes. But I did see that we're still trying to keep up with the Joneses a little bit, and that's a crazy game to get into.
You know, it's either refurbish and make it a big time refurbishing, or with modern pro sports arenas, arenas bringing in everything. All of a sudden, you're going to need a new one in 20 years. Or what are we talking about? But because you got to keep up with the Joneses. And keep people coming in the front door.
That's what Ohio Stadium. That's what Ross Bjork is facing now at Ohio Stadium in the shot as well, and trying to balance that. Because let me break a little news to you: it's not cheap. It's not cheap to do these massive renovations.
I did this story way back when they in the late '90s when they were talking about refurbishing Ohio Stadium. Dropping the field and then raising and putting that, which I thought they did a hell of a job. I thought very well done. The same people that. Architects or whatever you want to call it, designers who did that also did Notre Dame Stadium. And basically you added a shell and added more of an upper deck. But the higher you go, those seats are so expensive to put in. You can only get so high. But I remember doing a story with Andy Geiger, then the athletic director. I said, well, instead of putting 200 to 250 million, if you thought about building another stadium, which is blasphemy, but not really, because, concrete does crumble eventually. And he said, well, the problem is there's only one or two spots anywhere around campus where you would have the ability to put that kind of footprint in. It was like up there at like Lane and Kinney Road. That northwest corner
where we see the athletic complexes now. The tennis center.
Well, no, this is past that. This is on the other side of Kinney Road.
You're saying like by the ag campus.
Yeah, where the ag campus is, where they have. I think they still have cows running around up there and stuff.
They do, but then now they've built a ton of different stuff in that corner too.
But the thing about it is, you couldn't build it necessarily like they do some of these pro places where you would rebuild it where it is now.
Yeah.
Because it would take a long time, and where would Ohio State play its football games? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he said it would be $250, $300 million. And, nobody has. Now, this was 1998, 97. So now we're talking about refurbishing nationwide for $400 million.
Remember when Jerry Jones built Jerry World and he spent $1 billion and we all freaked out about it?
I told him that to his face one time. I was saying, what intrigued me is the manager for Buster Douglas, John Johnson, was a lot like Jerry Jones in a lot of ways because he liked to make a big thing. And I said, where did you get this idea that you had to build that stadium? Because they were famous for having a stadium with a roof with a hole in it.
They were still famous for this year, and I don't remember exactly which game that they were playing in, that the sun cost them a game, whether it was right in the kicker's eye. Well,
if you've been there, you can see why. I mean, it's crazy. But he goes, well, by then we were on first name basis. Well, Tim, let me tell you, he goes, when I was first getting into business, he said, I met this guy who owned 200 Howard Johnson restaurants. He kind of talks like this. That's why I'm doing it.
It's a really good Jerry Jones.
Yeah, and he goes, 200 Howard Johnson restaurants. You know what my question was for him? It wasn't about Howard Johnson was a restaurant hotel, It wasn't about the hotel and running the hotel and things like that. It was like, where do you find 200 good cooks? and he said, the guy told him, he goes, well, this is the way I approach it. He goes, if something's supposed to be hot, I want it scalding hot. And if something's coming out of the kitchen supposed to be cold, I want it brain freeze back of your throat, brain freeze cold. Because you know what I'm looking for? And Jerry said, no. He goes, I'm looking for impact. And he does his hands like that, and he goes, that's the way I've approached my businesses. That's the way I approach free agency, all this kind of. It was really an interesting sort of insight into him. He's made a lot of mistakes when it comes to running the actual physical football team. But you got to give it up to him for going for it.
Yeah, they do. And
this is a guy whose helicopter parks in between two practice fields when he flies up from Highland Park or wherever he lives down there in Dallas.
Well, and he just traded for George Pickens, too, this offseason. It's like, okay, well.
He's trying to do it.
I don't know if it's going to work, Mr. Jones.
He's trying to get it done.
He is. So I give him credit for trying. Now that we're kind of through this camp/recruiting period, Tim, what are you just looking at for this summer portion of Ohio State's program? And by the way, all the coaches that around the country who are able to get away to enjoy some vacation time this week, do it. Get away as much as you possibly can because you're going to be thrust right back into it before you know it. So those guys were getting away this week, which is nice. But what's some of your most unique / interesting storylines after we were just talking about in our last segment, Ryan Day cracking through and earning that national championship last year?
Well, number one, this is, we don't get to go watch them all the time and stuff, but I'm telling you, Ryan Day's got a different, I don't know, style about him right now.
Different vibe?
A different vibe, but even a style. He definitely looks like seems like puts off this aura of being the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
We watched him evolve from suddenly being thrust into being a head coach for the first time, as Jim Harbaugh said, being born on third base, which is unfortunate.
Aware with that line.
At least Ryan Day didn't steal third base. Pardon the pun, the baseball pun.
Or steal home.
Exactly. That would have been more apropos. My point is, we've watched him evolve from being an offensive coordinator kind of guy who became a head coach into last year. And I'm telling you, the seminal moment, we talked about it a million times, where he showed what he was all about was that meeting.
Yep.
The day or two after the Michigan game, when he knows, the barbarians are at the gate.
Yeah, the fangs are out.
Everybody, including the team, wanted to know what was that, and he gave it up to the team. A lot of head coaches wouldn't do that. Like I said, what was the name of the head coach on the famous movie Varsity Blues?
Mm-hmm.
John Voight.
Yeah,
you remember he left with his stuff in his box.
Ryan Day returned with a
Ryan
national
Day
championship
stepped to
trophy.
the podium and took it from the players and gave it back, I'm sure, and then let them, because finally it is the players' team. It's what comes down to whether you win or lose. Ask Michael Bennett about. I mean, your players they've got to grab a hold of the team and run with it. Like in '68, right on down the line, 2002, and so that to me was an incredible seminal moment of a man being a true head coach. You got to figure out what it is that makes this team different and let it happen. By let it happen, you got to coach it, but you got to let it happen. And to me, he transcended when they beat the hell out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
That was a major moment.
It was a leaping off point.
That was a major moment, but just because, they did get it, and then they just went they were the best team in the country last year. I don't think anybody ever doubted that. Well, you did after the Michigan game.
You did. And then you turned around 3 weeks later after you watched that butt kicking against Tennessee and said, oh, boy.
I like the way he's carrying himself now because he clearly is not satisfied. Yeah. That's what I like about it.
Well, he said it out loud, too.
Oh, he's not satisfied.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see that. So, but now he's much more confident as an individual, in my opinion, about, I can hire the right guys. And we can recruit the right guys, and we can make this happen again.
And we've got a different approach to doing it.
But it's different every year. Mm-hmm. Every major college football team is different. Even the guys they brought back last year, it was still a different team because you don't get those ingredients from the transfer portal.
Yeah,
it may not happen.
Right.
So that's what I like about him. He's very sure of himself now, or much more sure of himself. But he's also sure of the guys he's got around him. He said, I want to, you hire an offense coordinator to be the head coach of the offense. You hire a defense coordinator to be the head coach of the defense. And you got Mark Pantoni sitting there with no peer, in my opinion, in the country. I think Mark Toney is getting it done better than anybody else in his line of work in the country, general manager. So I'm just, it's cool watching Ryan Day operate now in some form or fashion because there is a confidence there that I think he always had, but now has been borne out.
Well, and I think it's just evolving, too, as a coach and in the day and age, and even just a couple of years ago, where we had Brian Hartline as the offensive coordinator, and then Ryan Day said, nope, I got to take those reins back, and then the next year you go out and you hire Chip Kelly, and then you crack through and you let those guys operate, and he had long talked about taking a step back, in which he did. But in the biggest moment, you need to take a step forward and realize what is going to work for your team, and they did it.
And back 2 years ago, was it more Brian Hartline didn't quite step up like he thought he would, meaning Ryan Day, or was it Ryan Day didn't want to give it up?
Correct.
I mean, it was a big combo, more of a combo there. I think it was more the latter than the former.
Absolutely, it was. So
anyway, following that, also starting quarterback. Yeah, but dude,
that's a pretty big one too.
Yeah, but isn't it amazing on that All-America list? I think they've got. Didn't they have Arch Manning?
They did. Arch Manning was.
Are you kidding me?
Was the preseason All-American.
That just shows you
favorite, but he's the guy.
All the guys coming back, like Cade Klubnik and all these guys. People want to see something different.
They do. Well, we're going to get to see Arch Manning live and in person coming up here in just a couple of months.
Very, very cool.
So the recruiting dead period has begun. Ohio State still has a lot going on the recruiting front. The Dean of Ohio State recruiting, Bill Kurelic of Bucknuts. He's going to join us coming up here in 2 minutes. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
Road trip.
This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings because you're driving to Paris,
Texas.
Then it's off to Rome,
Georgia.
And you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Colin Man here. Let me tell you something. I'm on these Germain interoffice emails. At Germain Lexus, during the month of June, they've challenged themselves to sell more cars than they ever have in 1 month. What does that mean? Well, I'm stupid, but to me, that means they're willing to deal, baby. And the Memorial cars are on the lot. The ones the golfers drive for the tournament are now available to you. I've been a Germain customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Germain Lexus, 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, GermainLexus.com.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get 1 juicy flame grill Whopper sandwich, 1 original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Come on over to Heartland and join our family.
Now, community banking is the lifeblood of the American financial system, building strong, lasting relationships. We're just better able to help guide you down life's road. Flexibility is paramount to success. Community banking is alive and well in the Heartland. I'm Scott McComb. Come on over to Heartland, where banking really feels good.
Where banking feels good.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Buckeye Show is sponsored by CareSource, proud to be your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
The only radio show that bleeds scarlet and gray. This is the Buckeye Show.
Hanging out here on this sultry Monday with Tim May. Right now we're hanging out also with the Dean of Ohio State Recruiting as we head out to the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline check with our guy. He is Bill Kurelic. Dean, thanks for the time. Always appreciate it. I was watching Bucknuts Happy Hour on Friday, watching you preview this big recruiting weekend for Ohio State with Patrick Murphy, Bill. And I think there were 7 commits who were there on the weekend, 17 guys total, 10 guys who had not committed to Ohio State. Anything come out of this weekend here, Bill, or is it all quiet on the Buckeye front as we got through this last recruiting period for the Buckeyes?
Well, so far, there's been one player that Ohio State has been recruiting who made an official visit to Ohio State that's committed elsewhere. And that happened actually just a couple of hours ago as Danny Odom, a cornerback from Florida, announced he's quitting Nebraska. He had visited Ohio State the weekend of June 13th to 15th. Now, as far as this weekend, everybody that made an official visit to Ohio State this past weekend is still uncommitted, I guess you'd say. Of course, they had, as you mentioned, Brandon, they had 7 guys that arrived at Ohio State having already committed to the Buckeyes, and those 7 are all still firmly committed to Ohio State. And now we kind of wait to see what happens with the 7 guys that were at Ohio State this past weekend and what their decisions are.
Hey, Bill, this is Tim May. I'm wondering, you and I know each other. We go way back. I was telling Brandon, we go way back before Brandon was ever born, but that's another story. That's another call in for
we were using stone tablets and chisels, right?
No, I was telling him, I think you made your most money when you had that 900 number. You know what I mean? That's. I was telling him about how it was such a desert back then of recruiting experts, but you were one of the guys that just jumped in, you chiseled your way into it, and finally I returned your phone calls. You remember all that, but
oh yeah, those were the days. Yeah.
Those are stories for another day. I wanted to ask you: is Ohio State going to end up with a quarterback in this 26 class? What's your take?
Well, I think it looks fairly promising. We're talking about the guys, of course, that visited Ohio State this past weekend, and one of them was a quarterback, Luke Fahey from Mission Viejo, California. He was the only quarterback to make an official visit to Ohio State in the month of June. And the visit went extremely well. I talked to Luke right after he finished his visit, and his decision is down to Ohio State, Indiana, and Stanford. And I guess a tiny bit of breaking news, so to speak. We finished his official visit to Ohio State yesterday. He told me that it would probably be about 2 to 3 weeks before he made and announced his decision. But just shortly before this show, Luke told me he's looking to move things up, that he may have a decision as soon as this week.
Wow.
And I tend to like Ohio State in that one right now.
Did you say, wait a minute, I'm trying to go on vacation here. What are you doing?
No, we didn't talk about that. But, also the interesting thing is Luke, even though he's from out there on the West Coast, he really grew up liking the Buckeyes, a fan of Ohio State. So that's certainly in Ohio State's favor as well.
Yeah, I keep reminding people, Bill, Buckeye Nation is a real thing. I mean, it's literally a real, true, breathing being, so to speak, and stuff. And it is like, what Julian saying. Julian saying was quite interested in Ohio State before he went to Alabama. And then, of course, he turned back to Ohio State and stuff. And it's funny, they're from the same little coastal, lower coast of California there, which has got to help Ohio State even more, I think, about getting this kid, right?
Yeah, it does. And, they were together this weekend at Ohio State. So that's a factor too. And another little bit of, breaking news that was announced shortly before this is that another Ohio State target from this weekend's official visit, Demary Simeon, a defensive lineman from New Jersey. He has decided he's going to announce his decision this Friday, June 27th. And in his case, his decision is a 4-team battle for the most part. Ohio State, that school up north, Michigan, Penn State, and Texas. Those are the big four for Demary Simeon.
Boy, those announcements of pending announcements seem orchestrated. What do you think, Bill?
Well, you hope if you're an Ohio State fan, they are.
Yeah.
He is Bill Kurelic with us here on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. As far as Luke's recruitment here, Bill, Ohio State fans will look at this and say, well, you have Stanford and Indiana on the list, and then you also have Ohio State. That's a little bit interesting. I think when, you're not used to seeing those schools on the same page, usually when a kid gets down to his final commitment. So what does this kid bring to the table? What is he good at? What does he need to work on? And just kind of this symbiotic relationship between Ohio State and him has kind of stood out, I guess, through his recruitment so far.
Well, for one thing, he's prolific. I mean, he had a big junior season throwing the football. He's size-wise, he's a little bit like Julian saying. Luke Fahey is 6 foot tall, 185 pounds, and Tim, I think you can vouch for this, having been around saying that's pretty much Julian Saying size for the most part.
Not now, though. He's gotten a lot bigger.
But I should say, height-wise,
yes.
You're right. They all get bigger after a year at Ohio State.
Yeah, but you know what? Julian Saying's high school coach, kind of took offense to that because Julian's pushing up right up there around 6'2", in my opinion, because I'm 6'2", and I can look him square in the eye, and he kind of took offense that people thought that Julian was short. Somebody brought it up in the post-spring game thing, and he goes, he's more than tall enough is basically what his high school coach said. But go ahead. You're right, though. I mean, he's got – I think anything over 6 foot, you're doing okay.
Yeah, I always think of Julian Saying as being 6'1" and maybe a shade over that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
With Fahey being 6 foot, there's not a lot of difference there. But Fahey's got a good arm. And like I said, I think the best way to characterize him, he's productive.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And I was watching some of his highlights, Bill, as you were just breaking him down, because Tim, if you were watching on our YouTube stream, you could say Tim literally say to me, watch the tape.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
That's what I'm currently doing right now. So, I mean, we know, Bill, there's all kinds of different strategies right now with recruiting. Some teams splash the cash. Some teams say, hey, maybe we're not going to pay you so much before you get on campus, but once you're a proven commodity in college football, that's when the NIL dollars are going to start to roll in. Just you've been around this for a long time. What do you see as the most proven strategy, or the strategy that will win out when it comes to the future of college football and kind of the ways that teams are operating right now?
Well, I think basically the strategy that Ohio State used this past season and Michigan used the season before, that is, first and foremost, keep your players on campus at your school. And Ohio State did a great job of that. You know, nobody expected all those guys, or as many of those guys, to come back as they did. And you got to be honest, in this day and age, you've got to pay those guys to make that happen, whether you're Ohio State or Michigan or Texas or whoever. Right. So I think that's the number one strategy, is to keep your guys. It's so much easier to win when you're playing with a bunch of fourth and fifth year guys, and sometimes sixth year guys, to be honest. But a bunch of fourth and fifth year guys are just going to be bigger and stronger for the most part than first and second year guys. So I think that's the number one strategy. And of course, bringing in good players to begin with. If you can bring in good players, and Ohio State has a top 5 recruiting class every year, if you can bring in good players, they don't necessarily have to have the number one class in the country every year, but if you can bring in good players, develop them and keep them at Ohio State, and Ohio State does a great job of selling them on the fact that if you come here, as you mentioned, Brandon, you're going to get your money once you've been here a couple of years, but you're also going to be developed, and then you're going to get the really big payday because we're going to help you get to the league, to the NFL.
Yeah, and you're going to be on national television, high noon.
Every week.
That's the other thing. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
The exposure is going to be there for you if, in fact, you live up to the billing. Hey, Bill, before you go, one last quickie. Of the freshmen, a guy that's really intriguing me, because, you know, you cover these guys coming into Ohio State, so you know a lot about them. Bo Jackson, to me, man, I'm intrigued to see where he goes this year in terms of the depth chart, et cetera. Is he caught your eye, and or who is a guy you've got your eye on for this tier's team?
Definitely, yeah, definitely Bo is one of them. And it was such a shame that he got injured partway through his senior year in high school at Cleveland St. Joe. In fact, I was at one of the last games that he played in as a fully healthy guy, and he just ran wild. The game I saw him play, he had over 300 yards rushing. He was unbelievable. And again, it's a shame that he got to play really less than half of his senior season. He's healthy again, though, and well, he has great speed, and he's a strider. I mean, he can be electric. And I do think, like you said, Tim, he's going to see the field and get meaningful reps as a true freshman. But another guy that really, you said, you know, who intrigues you? And I don't know that he's going to intrigue me so much this year, but I think down the road, a couple of years from now, B.P. Miller from Ontario High School in Ohio in the Mansfield area.
Yep.
He 6'4", 180 pounds. He's not going to do it this year because he's never played wide receiver before. He played quarterback in high school.
Right.
But he is big, and what a burst he has. He's got flat-out speed. B.P. Miller is the guy I think is going to – Brian Hartline is going to develop him into a big-time wide receiver.
He lost his ID at a Chipotle a few months ago, and one of my friends picked it up, Bill, said, hey, I just Googled this guy, and it says he plays football at Ohio State. Do you have any idea how to connect to him? And we were able to get his ID back before the night even ended. So
That's a great story.
It's all good. Bill, we appreciate the time. Thanks for popping on with us here this evening. Rest your phone as much as you possibly can over the next couple of days, and we'll check in again soon, all right?
All right. Appreciate it, Brandon and Tim. You guys have a great evening.
You too. There he goes, our guy, the Dean of Ohio State Recruiting, Bill Kurelic of Bucknuts on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Hashtag Buckeyes coming at you next. It's the Buckeye Show on the Fan.
If you miss a live show, you can catch the podcast. If you miss the podcast, our hosts have volunteered to have dinner with you.
The meatloaf!
The Fan.
Let's be honest, we could all use a little vacation from the ordinary. But with Tim Hortons' new refreshers, you don't need to pack your bags. Just sip, relax, and enjoy your refreshing 16-ounce vacation. With tropical mango packed with real pineapple and mango pieces. And strawberry watermelon kiwi featuring real pieces of strawberry and kiwi. Also, try it with lemonade or coconut milk. A choose-your-own taste bud adventure. Head to Tim's for the new refreshers. Your 16-ounce vacation awaits. Only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants.
This 4th of July, Bob's Discount Furniture is bringing back 4 for the 4th. Spotlighting 4 must-have trendsetters for $7.99 and under, like my farmhouse chic Calvin bedroom, Playday sectional with pop-up sleeper and hidden storage, Consumer Reports recommended treasure mattress, and my 5-star Betty dining set in 4 gorgeous colors. So stop in or visit mybobs.com and celebrate 4 for the 4th. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Attention Columbus. Town Properties just clinched the title of the largest residential property manager in Columbus, thanks to the Columbus Business Journal. With pride, we oversee 25,000 plus households in the Columbus metro area, ensuring fantastic places to call home. Whether you're on the hunt for an exceptional living space, a top-notch association management company, or a property manager for your multifamily portfolio, visit our website at town.properties.com and let us elevate your living experience. Town Properties, always managing great places to live.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
The future of recycling is now at Rumpke Waste and Recycling. The recycling leader has opened North America's largest, most technologically advanced recycling center right here in Central Ohio. This one-of-a-kind facility features interactive displays, educational opportunities, and the ability to process over 60 tons of recycled material per hour. Rumpke is committed to recycling and sustainability efforts, and for more than 90 years, Rumpke has worked to make sure the items you place in your recycling bin get used again. Visit Rumpke.com to learn how you can team with Rumpke to put less trash in our landfills and more of it to good use.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Join the Fan and 10 TV on Friday, June 27th from 11 to 6:30 to kick off the Beat the Heat Fan Drive. Purchase box fans and drop them off at the 10 TV studios on Friday, June 27th from 11 to 6:30. The Beat the Heat Fan Drive is sponsored by Newman Roofing.
Hey friends, Beamer here. So did you jump in on Awaken 180's Lose 40 by the 4th challenge? Well, if you did, well, a huge congratulations to you on hitting a 40-pound goal in less than 2 months. That deserves some serious celebration. Speaking from experience, I dropped double digits my very first week on Awaken 180, and in just over 3 months, all 70 pounds were gone. Total game changer for me, and the results came lightning fast. Now, if you haven't jumped on board yet, there's no worries. There's still plenty of summer left to lose your 30, 40, 70 like I did, or even 100 pounds or more. I'm not saying you're going to drop 40 pounds next week, but if you have the same week 1 results I had, you'll definitely be on your way. Set your sights in August. Think summer barbecue, golf, the beach, every bit of it fits into your new Awaken 180 lifestyle. Lose weight, love summer, and thank me later. You can start today at awaken180weightloss.com, the official weight loss program of summer.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Social media can be a cesspool. Allow us to navigate the waters. #Buckeyes.
Sponsored by the Waterworks. Call the plumbing, heating, and cooling technicians at the Waterworks and header today. Call 614-232-2222. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
We here on the Buckeye Show, brought to you by our good friends over at Coors Light. When those mountains are blue, you know what that means. Those suckers are as cold as the Rockies. Tim, are you a big gamer? Are you a big video game guy?
No, everybody always asks me that. Dude, I used to be really big. I mean,
what was your game
I've had every iteration, for example, of Flight Simulator.
Okay.
So, and I've had to buy 3 different computers along the years to
Are you still in on it?
Oh, yeah. Whenever something happens in the aviation world, one way or the other, I get online. I get on
Do you have the joystick and the seat and everything?
And the pedals and everything else? Absolutely. I'm not on it all the time, but I try to replicate what just happened. Why did that happen? Kind of thing, like the Washington D.C. thing. And,
sure.
And boy, it was stunning to watch that Starliner or Dreamliner fall out of the sky the other day on takeoff out of India. That's dual engine failure. Clearly they're going to find that was a glitch in their FADEC, which is the thing that controls your engines. But I've always loved auto racing games, but I liked them. There was a game that came out like 20 years ago that I had where you could basically tune an F1 car.
Like a Gran Turismo game?
Yeah,
maybe?
But it was better than Gran Turismo. You could tune an F1 car from back in that ilk and, fine tune it, and it was cool to do that from track to track. And there were all kinds of, and I think it was too complex because most people, you don't
know what they're doing.
You don't want to make it. You want to
set it to me automatic pedal and tell me when to brake and when to press the gas pedal, and I can play it then.
Bingo. Kids want to just dash and smash, or smash the gas and dash. But I totally give it up to these games now. The complexity, if in fact that's the right term, but some people make it look so fluid. There's like at Mandalay Bay, they've got a whole. I don't know if you've been to their sports book.
I have not been to the Mandalay Bay,
but in their sports book, they've got an isolated room sort of off to the side where you can play, where they have video game competitions and stuff like you've seen on television.
Oh yeah, those video game arenas. And all
this
kinds
thing
of crazy
it's
stuff.
huge now, man.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. And you know that guy who rose from driving Gran Turismo or whatever to getting to actually drive an F1 car. Are you nuts?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a little bit different.
Actually,
too.
I think it was more of a prototype car, but still, that just shows you how close to realistic it is anymore.
It can be very realistic, and I've seen
unless
some
you
of
lose
these
control and then you're going 180 hitting a wall.
I was watch some of these like flight simulator videos, and you could spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on the setup. Same thing with racing games. But I did see this EA Sports added 35 new mascot additions to the College Football 26 game coming out, including the Pop-Tart Bowl mascot. Wow. I saw that. So we've got that going for us, which is nice.
Is his name Toasty?
I don't know what his name is, but Toasty should be up there for consideration. But I was reading through some
Frosted,
of their.
That would be another one.
I like the internet. I think the internet makes good comments, and they make a lot of fun of different things. And I think it's great. So I was reading a write up just about the new mascots in this game. It's at SMU. Peruna, the Mustang mascot, marches on the field, showcasing the speed and the strength of the program.
There you go.
Army and Navy, the mascots from both service academies. Army Mules, Navy's Bill the Goat. He's going to join the game, celebrating the storied rivalry. And then I get to Ohio University, and someone edited it.
Berated?
Said Rufus the Bobcat joins the roster. And I don't know what it actually said about Rufus, but someone edited it and said, and we'll punch out Brutus Buckeye on site. And then I had to go back to maybe one of the greatest pictures in college football history of those two mascots getting into a fight many years ago at Ohio Stadium.
Yeah. You would like to have had a microphone in both of their headgears.
These guys saying to each other.
What are they actually saying to each other? Because I think Brutus was caught unawares. And by the way, when I first moved up here, Brutus, it was just a big.
The evolution of Brutus Buckeye.
It was just a big nut.
Yeah, I've seen the evolution.
And a guy would be in it and spin it around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brutus is pretty damn cool.
Brutus is really cool. But I got swindled. It was the first time being a parent that I got swindled and basically forced into purchasing something for Willie. We were at an Ohio State basketball game this past year. So we tried to take him to a couple a year. And we were running around the lobby. We were running around the lobby, and they've got that beautiful team shop right inside the shop there. Yeah. And he wasn't aware that if you pick stuff up, you just can't run out. You just can't run out without any punishments from doing that.
His toy room.
So and listen, give the people at Ohio State a lot of credit because they knew exactly what they were doing. Right by the checkout line, right by the doors, they had this gigantic bin of small stuffed Brutus the Buckeye.
Yeah.
Right. So and he's about the height of the top of the container, so he's able to reach in and snag one. And I'm like, dude, we can't we can't just run out. Like, we need to buy this if you want to buy it. And so I put it back in the bin. I'm like, okay, let's go. And he's just like, want to buy Brutus? I want a Brutus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got swindled into my first purchase then, and it was a Brutus Buckeye doll.
Good for Willie and good for you, man. I mean, that's just
that's how you start him, right?
Does he have a light sword yet? Have you taken any of those circus things or anything where you every kid's got one and your kid wants one?
No, we haven't done that.
Good, because don't fall for it.
Don't fall into the trap.
The light swords
Brutus was a good investment.
Brutus is a great investment
because every flag that we see with Ohio State on, and every football field that he sees, because we try to watch the games together. Every football field he sees, he's like, "That's where the Buckeyes play there." I'm like,
don't you think?
No, they don't, but we do pass that stadium a lot.
Don't you think Ohio State, especially football-wise, don't you think it is the program of the 2020s? I mean, from the standpoint of what they've gotten to.
Well, they've just always been there.
Rare blips, but now it's like there's a just like with Bill talking about recruiting and stuff. They're just. It's undeniable because I've covered this team for a long time and stuff, but they're on another level now, and I just think it's going to be interesting. But like you just said, Brutus, your little kid had to have that little Brutus doll. He wouldn't have wanted a little fiberglass shell.
No, and he knows who he is, too.
Right. But, I mean, everything is sort of aligned, and Ohio State was really on top of it when it came to NIL to begin with, as we saw last year.
Yeah.
And now it's just streamlined. It's just it's going to be an interesting dynamic to watch over the next 15 years, in my opinion.
Absolutely it is. But if any indications of these last 25 years, fast forwarding the next 15 years, and you know this saying, Tim, better than most, the standard is the standard. And
Correct.
They do not deviate from that standard very often, whether it's over there at the Woody, whether it's over at the Shot, whether it is from facility to facility over there with 36 of their varsity sports, the standard is the standard.
And another thing they're like the NFL in is don't mess with the brand.
Yeah.
Or what they call it, the shield.
Yeah, don't mess with the shield.
That's never going away, and I think it's been unfortunate a few times when some people lost jobs, et cetera. I won't get into that, but because
that's a whole nother show.
Because of the shield.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, Ross Bjork's the right guy, right time, and I think it's being proven out.
Absolutely, it is. So yeah, they've got a lot to work with in their arsenal of weaponry.
Yeah, there's
as well.
Talented people there.
Tim, I had a great time doing a show with you. I don't know the next time we're going to get to do a show together, but I'm telling you one thing, I'm very much looking forward to it.
I'm headed to end of the week. I'm headed to a bachelor party for my middle kid Corey.
Okay.
In Nashville. So
that sounds fun.
Pray for me.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good time. I'm sure it's going to be 70 degrees and sunny down there. It'll be fun. Pat Murphy in with me tomorrow. We will get you to Cincinnati, where the Reds are taking on the Yankees next. Everybody have an awesome night. Talk to you tomorrow. It's the Buckeye Show on The Fan.
Oh, hey, the best football team in the country's on the best radio station in the country. Congratulations, Buckeyes. Here's to 100 more years together. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
This summertime, it's Modelo time. Whether you're poolside or curbside, kick it with an ice cold Modelo. Time to fire up the grill and turn up. Time to reach for a crisp Modelo or the refreshing lime and salt flavors of Modelo Chelada. Time to raise one to summer, and time to stock up on Modelo before summer is gone. Drink responsibly. Beer and flavored beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
What is dippable and dunkable? And now at Donato's, it's Donato's new Chicken Dippers. Flavorful boneless chicken breast tenders served up with 7 amazing dipping sauce options, including new garlic parmesan and sweet chili. For a limited time, try new chicken dippers for just $5 on the $5 Pizza Pals menu. More toppings, more flavor, more fun. Donato's. Gotta love more.
AgPro has been family owned and operated for over 64 years. We take pride in developing long-lasting relationships and offering first-class customer service. Need a new tractor, parts for your used equipment, or reliable service? AgPro has you covered. AgPro is here to serve you and your operation as your hometown dealer. Visit us today at any of our AgPro locations or go online to agproco.com to get started with your AgPro experience.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor